After many years of viewbotting ruining Twitch, it's finally ruling down with an iron fist and saying, no, we don't want any more viewbotters on our platform, and by the looks of it, they've seemed to have found a pretty good counter to it. Now, they announced this update about a month ago, and they finally rolled it out into full season, and it is having a massive effect on a whole load of streamers. When they made their initial announcement, they kind of just said, hey guys, look, if your channel's maybe getting viewbotted by an external third party, it's out of your control, you may see a decrease in views, and for those of you who are currently going out there viewbotting, you're going to see your career plummet into the earth. And at the time, someone by the name of Devin Nash made a bit of an announcement saying, hey guys, I got a bit of a chin scratching theory that roughly 430 out of the top 500 streamers are viewbotting, with an estimate of 30 to 40% of those viewers from the top streamers being bots. Obviously, that's a massive problem on their platform because they want an actual idea of how many people are actively using Twitch. And at the time, it's not really like anyone was getting punished for viewbotting. Twitch didn't have a system to identify it. Yeah, sure, some people might get exposed on Twitter like, oh, look at this person, they just got caught viewbotting. However, other than that, it was basically just a free way to boost your numbers up. But for many of you who might have streamed on Twitch before, you might be aware that if you have no viewers, you're probably going to stay at no viewers unless you promote yourself in some sort of other way. Like, unfortunately, Twitch has a really bad system when it comes down to the algorithm, which basically just sorts viewership from like the most amount of viewers to the smallest amount of viewers, and whoever has those kind of high viewer ranges, they're going to get promoted more. And like, I understand that because it's going to make Twitch more money because they got people which are affiliated, they get to put ads on the stream and they make more clams from that. However, in terms of a communal aspect, it's going to drive a lot of people to just think, you know what, I'd just be better off paying like $40 to get 500, 600 views, and then I can build an audience off of that. And even big streamers like Shroud were just casually making jokes about this. Obviously, Shroud wasn't viewbotting. However, he briefly tinkled in the air of like, why not viewbot? What's the problem with it?
You should start viewbotting, Matt.
Dude, actually, I've been thinking about suggesting viewbotting to a lot of people because they don't do anything about it. There's countless streamers on this platform. Some of the top 10 streamers on this platform just viewbot. Just do it. Fuck it. Who cares?
Yeah. How do you know I'm not doing it already?
Now, obviously, they're all kind of joking right there, but he makes a very good point. Like, Twitch isn't doing anything about it, and you get more viewers, which results in more people tuning into your stream. Like, if you're scrolling through the platform and you see someone they've got like 80k viewers, you'll probably think, huh, let me check that person out. Let's see what's going on. Why have they got so many viewers? And then maybe you might stay for a couple more streams. However, obviously, Twitch didn't want that happening because it's not a real kind of summary of how many viewers they have. And ever since their counteraction against the viewbotting, they've now seen a drop of 24% in viewers. There are many big streamers out there at the moment losing thousands of viewers. I know people are accusing streamers like Lacey, Stable Ronaldo, and Neon of viewbotting. Turns out they actually weren't, which might be shocking for some people, but their viewer count is legit. However, for Twitch as a business, this really isn't good. This now means that Twitch is going to be losing like 24% of the ad revenue they were originally receiving because they've got less views on it, even though previously those views weren't actual viewers. And without a doubt, in terms of numbers, comparing them to other platforms, it's also not so good. However, it's really nice to actually see the reality of people's view counts. But this guy on Twitch, he did a bit of a deep dive into it, and he noticed that the top 5,000 streamers are currently seeing massive fluctuations in their viewers. Some people are seeing view counts drop by like 5%, others over the 20s, and I'm not gonna lie, it's probably the biggest streamers which are seeing a greater drop. Obviously, Kai Cenat isn't viewbotting, I think everybody's aware of that. However, if we are looking at someone at a similar size, if someone was originally getting like 100,000 viewers, there's actually a higher chance that like 50% of those were botted just to put their name out there more. And when it comes down to it, I really can't blame streamers for that. Like, if a streamer has like a record-breaking stream where they get 150k viewers, most people on Twitter are going to talk about that. It's going to be a bit of a discussion point for a couple of days, and it will result in more real people going to watch them. And XQC made a fantastic thread about this on Twitter. I know most people are kind of like, oh, boo XQC, but guys, keep in mind, he is probably the #1 streamer out there. I know people like to say, oh, Kai Cenat, IShowSpeed, because they are so big, but when we're talking in terms of like longevity and such a great wide viewership, XQC is seriously the best one out there. And as you can see right here, XQC kind of discusses how a lot of people that are part of groups or organizations, they are seeing a greater decline in viewership due to the botting. And as sad as it is to say, there is a good reason for this. And that's because most of these organizational groups, they're associated with talent agencies. And talent agencies, there is either a percentage of the ad revenue from the stream, which kind of just allows the stream to keep on promoting themselves through them. So by inflating the current streamers that they have a bit of an ownership over, they can just kind of say, oh yeah, if you guys want to take part of our talent agencies, you can see our results right here. We are getting getting like massive amount of viewers for these people, you're going to need to pay quite a couple clams to be a part of us. And SQC kind of puts it in simple ways, it's fraud. You've got these talent agencies, they're going out there, they're lying about their numbers, they're getting people to pay way more money than they actually deserve. And these people that think they're seeing a massive influx of viewers, they're actually not. They're just getting botted by these talent agencies. And the talent agencies, I mean, in a way, it's a genius master plan. They're taking a small percentage of the money that they're making from the ad revenue on the stream, and they're just spending that on bots. In a way, they are just making free money. And as sad as it is to say, this absolutely wrecks the industry. If we're looking at people who are like not viewbotting and they've got a bit of a smaller audience, maybe someone who's getting like 50 to 300 viewers every stream, you can definitely make a decent income from that. However, if you've got these bigger streamers viewbotting, A, you're not going to be able to get your name out there as much because Twitch is just going to knock your name right down to the bottom of the barrel. And B, it's just going to make you look like you're like less entertaining and a worse streamer. So people aren't going to tune in for that longevity. And even worse, people may even think that these streamers are like falling off or not growing because they're not viewbotting. I mean, if we are looking at the world of streaming, for example, it's actually really hard to maintain viewers. And if we are looking at these massive streamers which are pulling in like tens of thousands of views, it's extremely impressive that they are able to maintain that many people watching them in one sitting. Because if we are comparing the two, who's more likely to be viewbotting? The bigger streamers. Are they actually maintaining these numbers? We don't really know now. And it gives us such like a complex understanding of what streaming actually is nowadays. Like, do we really have 30,000 people watching this one person walking through the streets? Or is it more realistic that we've got a lot lower number? And that is resulting in a lot of smaller streamers just kind of saying, you know what, screw it. I want to go out there, I want to view, but I'm sick and tired of only having 100 viewers. And XQC has done his research himself, and he's literally seen people like the example that I just gave, getting about 100 viewers, going to like 5,000 overnight, just a click of a finger. I mean, you can see the chart right there. 0 is literally at the bottom of the chart. If they're a big streamer, it wouldn't even be there. It'd be like maximum like 2k at the bottom. However, you then just see a massive spike going from 0 to 4k, then to 5k. And you know what really sucks about this? I don't doubt for a single second that this streamer actually saw a lot of growth during this time. I mean, sure, if you take a look at the chart, you see like their max viewers in comparison to the followers gained during those streams. Yes, that is an evident sign of botting. However, nonetheless, I don't doubt they had more real people coming into the chat. They had more people actually following and maybe even dropping some subs and donos because they get that hype around the person. They're like, oh, this person's got a bunch of viewers. Let me try and get a bit of attention from them. But yeah, I am so glad to see that Twitch has finally knuckled down on this. I was really getting sick and tired of seeing these like big streamers which aren't actually that big. Like, you go on Twitch, you see they got thousands of viewers, but then if you like try and search for them online, they're like kind of on the quiet end. It doesn't make sense. So hopefully Twitch's whole kind of business model, maybe even the world of streaming, will change a little bit now. I know it's gonna be quite difficult for other platforms like Kick and YouTube to try and counter this. However, if Twitch has managed to do it, I don't doubt that these platforms can do it as well. So yeah, that's about it. See ya.